Hey guys, this is John from US Dash Camera. Today I got a review on the PapaGo GoSafe S37. So now this is a full HD 1080p 30 frame per second camera with a 2-inch LCD on the back. Sony sensor with it's the Sony Exmor sensor with a 100 degree or 140 degree wide angle. So off the bat, people are probably going to think this isn't anything special. Of course, it has the usual G sensor feature. It does support up to 128 gigabytes, which is pretty cool. A lot of cheaper cameras still often only support 32 or 64 gigabytes. Even the Thinkware F800, which is a very expensive camera, only supports 64 gigabytes. So it says it's GPS ready. So there's an additional option for that if you want to pay extra for the external GPS. And there are some of the driver assistance things, which personally I don't care for them. I try to say this each time a camera has it. Basically, stuff like the lane departure warning system, it'll beep if you're leaving your lane, or it'll beep if it thinks you're too close to the car in front of you. But in reality, in an emergency situation, like if you fall asleep, that beeping isn't going to be enough to wake you up, make you realize what happens, and stop in time before you rear end someone. So that kind of features, I feel like it really needs to be part of the car. And for a while I tried using the Thinkware ones, but because the beeps weren't very harsh, they were sort of nice sounding, but I still eventually got sick of it. Now, the reason I wanted to review this one, PapaGo did reach out to me and asked if I wanted to review this one, and I was a little iffy about it at first because it seems like a pretty standard camera. Now, PapaGo is a good company, but it still was a pretty simple camera. And then, while researching it, I found out that it supports this tire pressure monitoring system. So that's really cool. My 2007 Prius doesn't have that feature, or built in, so I thought it'd be cool to test this out. So it connects to the dash camera and will give you the pressure of each individual tire. I have used something similar to this before, and it was okay. I think I gave it overall positive review. It was a little finicky with installation, but you know, this is the first dash camera I've seen that has an option like this. So I asked if I reviewed it, could they also include this? So this is sort of the cool feature of this camera, I feel like, that a lot of other cameras don't have, and it sets it apart from other cameras. So let's go into the camera now. So right when you open it, you get the camera, which I'll be honest was much smaller than I was expecting. That's very tiny. See if I don't have anything offhand to compare it to, but well, I got this little SJ cam. This is about the same size as a GoPro, so it's pretty small for a dash camera. Of course, it does use a suction cup style mount though, which I'm not a fan of personally, but it's good if you have multiple vehicles and only want to use one dash camera. And this suction cup is pretty low profile. It's not huge. It's not just like the cheap generic one that's included with a Mobius and a million other dash cameras. Okay, so there it is with the suction cup mount. So you really gotta adjust this. When I put it on originally, it was so off that I couldn't get it to look properly. So it's sort of a cool design. I mean, I'm not usually fond of really fancy shapes like this, but it sort of reminds me of the Batmobile or the Tumbler from The Dark Knight. But let's go over the camera features on the side. We got a power button. Guessing it's the reset button. Along the top we got GPS, power input memory card slot AV out, which is pretty cool that it has that. That's it, and we'll go through the menu later. So we got a standard 12-volt cigarette port adapter. So it is one with a separate cord. So unfortunately it's only got the one port, which is disappointing, I guess, but then a really long mini USB cable. So yeah, that's super long. For cameras like this, I personally recommend buying a Anchor 2-port one so you can charge your phone too. Maybe your car has multiple 12-volt ports, but yeah, it's always disappointing to me though when they only include one port. Then, didn't even realize this came with a memory card, 8GB memory card, which is not very big, but in reality, if you're just going to use it for driving and don't care about parking mode features, 8GB isn't ideal, but it'll record a couple hours, maybe a couple hours. But if you get in an accident, you just got to make sure to save the memory card. Don't go drive another 2 hours before you save the file. That's important. So it looks like it is a PapaGo branded one. I'm not sure if they make them themselves or if they pay another company, but anyways, let's go through the menu of the camera. So this is going to be my first time connecting it. Alright, let me choose a language. Now with the camera on, there's 4 options. This one turns the screen on or off. This button is the menu. This one is to view your files, and this one is to lock the current file, in case you want to make sure a file doesn't get erased. So going into the menu, most of it's pretty straightforward. Although this one does have the automatic recording, which is just normal looped dash cam recording, monitor mode where it'll record 1 frame per second, and then motion detection where it'll start recording once it senses motion, and once the motion stops for 60 seconds then it'll stop recording again. So some other cameras have features like this, but this one you have to manually go into the menu and do that, so it's not as ideal as some other cameras that have hardwiring kits that know when the car shuts off and can switch to something like a monitor mode automatically. So driving safety is that stuff I was talking about, like forward collision warning, lane departure warning. It does have stop sign recognition, but again, if I am not paying attention and don't see a stop sign, more than likely, or most people probably aren't going to suddenly stop because they hear a beeping noise. I really feel like those kind of features need to be built into a car with the technology for the car to actually brake or keep you in the lane. So I'm going to quickly speed through the rest of the menu because most of this is very standard stuff, like the G-Shock sensitivity, which will lock files if you get into an accident, date and time, the screensaver. This is all really default kind of stuff on pretty much 90% of the cameras out there, so I didn't want to take up too much time going over this. And this is what this is running. So that's basically the menu. I'm not going to go over viewing files because that's pretty straightforward. Obviously you can just watch some files on the side of the road if you need to. So now taking a look at the video quality, I gotta say the video is nothing special. It's definitely adequate with image sensor, you get decent 1080p footage. There's no 1440p here, there's no high frame rate mode here. It's just pretty standard and basic 1080p 30. And like I said, the camera alone isn't anything that special. It's like so many other dash cameras. So this camera you're really going to be looking at if you want the TPMS sensor feature. Now, a lot of people are gravitating towards 1440p, and even some cameras are 4K now. Blackview has a 4K camera, and some Chinese companies are releasing 4K cameras. And you know, it's a bit of a sacrifice if you really care about that TPMS. On the flip side, you could buy a separate TPMS device. I believe PapaGo sells one that doesn't rely on the dash camera, and the screen that shows the PSI would just be on the 12-volt socket adapter. So you could do that if you would prefer to get a TPMS sensor that way, and then get a different camera, like something like the A119 or whatever other camera out there that has better video quality for not much more money. But again, this is a value combo, I would argue, and even the night footage is pretty decent. It's, like I said, nothing super fancy, but not bad either. Good lighting, everything seems bright, and like I've mentioned in recent previous videos, I've been using this Prius lately that has HID lights, so it might look better than a lot of other cars if you just have standard light bulbs. Now let's get to the TPMS sensor installation. Okay guys, so going to be installing the TPMS sensors. I already put the batteries in. But I'm going to go ahead and show how that's done. Now you can just twist this off with your fingers, but if you use this special wrench, you can get a lot better torque, and you'll get it much tighter, and that way it'll be harder to steal later once it's installed. So you remove that, and using one of the provided batteries, you slide it right in. Make sure positive is on the positive side. Put the cap back on, and then use the wrench to tighten it. So it's pretty easy. I like this system that has the two separate wrench types that are non-standard. It does come with a lock nut on the back, which will use the other side of the wrench. So first you're going to want to slide the nut on. Now you don't have to go all the way on, just a centimeter or so at most should be plenty. So once you get that slid on, you'll put the cap on, the TPMS sensor. Now you want to make sure it does get all the way on. You'll hear the air come out. Once it's as tight as it goes, you're going to use the wrench, which I had to actually bend because I couldn't get around the hubcap. You can see I bent it 90 degrees. But you'll tighten the nut, so you'll be pulling the nut towards you so it presses up against the sensor, and then it's really hard to pull off because there's too much pressure. Now you'll use some soapy water to spray on it, and watch for any bubbles. If you have any bubbles, that means there's an air leak, and you don't want that. So then next we're going to install it, and with the PSI screen, you're going to want to install this low enough where you can see it. Then once you get it up there, you will have the sensor receiver plugged into the GPS port. And there you can see they recommend putting it up in the top left or right side of the window. So now it's important to note when you first turn it all on, they're not going to be connected most likely. And even if you try to match them, they might not. So just go around to each one, unscrew them, and then tighten them back up with the wrench. And it sort of wakes it up for whatever reason, and then suddenly it all works. So that's one of the big issues people have at first. So unfortunately, after using it a few times, the right rear sensor stopped working. Now I talked to the PapaGo rep, and he helped troubleshoot it with me, and so everything I tried, it wouldn't reactivate itself. So they did tell me that if something like this happens, they will replace the defective sensor. So they're sending me out another replacement sensor. I wanted to get this review out sooner rather than later, but again, the rep said if you have a defective sensor that just refuses to connect, they'll replace it. I think that's one of the good things about buying from a company like PapaGo, is they have customer support and whatever else here in the States, and you know you're going to get a lot of help versus some of the lesser known Chinese companies. So that's definitely a good thing, because there's defects in all sorts of products. My first Blackview 2-channel DR550 died within a week, and Blackview replaced it. Or actually, I think it was the retailer. But either way, like I said, there's defects and everything. While it was disappointing that I had issues with it, I don't think it's necessarily a bad product. I think it's a really cool product. Now, personally, I wouldn't use this in my personal car because I have more advanced ones with advanced parking mode, but you know, those are really expensive. If you want just a simple dash camera, but you also want to add this feature, this is such a cool combo setup that I would recommend it. So, you know, this alone I don't think is really worth it. It's a dime a dozen, just like so many other dash cameras, but paired with this, it is really unique. So if you don't have a TPMS sensor or one that displays the PSI, it's pretty cool. So hope this video was helpful. If you like this video or my other videos, I'd always appreciate if you hit like and subscribe. And as usual, drive safe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.